Welcome to the very first episode of the DarkCaseMindset Podcast. If you've ever walked away from a relationship thinking, how did I miss all those red flags? You're exactly where you need to be.
This show is about dark lessons, not the inspirational, fluffy kind, but the hard rules your nervous system learns after toxic relationships, emotional abuse, and people who used your kindness against you.
On the channel, you might know dark lessons as short, intense clips on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Instagram. Here in the podcast, we slow everything down. We take those 60-second videos and unpack the psychology, the patterns, and the self-protection behind them.
Quick disclaimer before we dive in, this podcast is not therapy and it's not a replacement for professional help.
That's important. What we do is education and language, so you can name what happened, spot patterns earlier, and stop calling manipulation just stress or disrespect just their personality.
Let's start with a simple question. What exactly is a dark lesson?
A dark lesson is a rule your brain writes after something painful. You trusted the wrong person. You stayed after the first slap of disrespect. You believed words instead of watching consistent behavior.
Right. And eventually your mind goes, okay, new rule. We are never ignoring this again.
The problem is, most people never write these rules down. They just carry around a feeling, anxiety, hypervigilance, people-pleasing, without understanding why.
So in dark lessons, we do two things. First, we take that vague feeling, something was off, and turn it into a sentence you can remember. Second, we show you the pattern behind it, so you can see it in different people, not just in that one ex, friend, or boss.
That's why so many comments under the shorts say things like, I feel called out, or did you secretly watch my relationship?
We see that all the time.
It's not that we know your story, it's that toxic patterns are painfully repetitive.
Let's talk about one of the first dark lessons on the channel. Being too nice is dangerous. A lot of people hate that sentence at first.
Because we grow up hearing, just be nice, give second chances, don't be dramatic. If you're listening to this, there's a good chance you were trained to be the easy one, the understanding partner, the flexible friend, the forgiving child.
Here's the uncomfortable truth. Toxic people don't look for mean targets. They look for people who are kind, empathetic, conflict avoidant, and unsure of their own worth.
Exactly.
Being kind is beautiful, but without boundaries, it becomes a magnet for users.
So the dark lesson here is not stop being nice, it's your niceness has to be pointed in both directions, outward and inward. If you never turn that kindness toward yourself, you accept treatment that your logical brain would never approve for someone you love.
Psychology has names for this. People-pleasing, fawning response, anxious attachment, sometimes even trauma bonding. But you don't need the labels. You just need to notice when your body says, this feels wrong, and your brain replies, but they had a hard childhood, or at least they didn't hit me.
That's exactly why one of the other dark lessons says your intuition isn't dramatic, it's the first witness. Your nervous system almost always notices disrespect before your conscious mind is ready to admit it.
Let's walk through 3 dark lessons that show up a lot in toxic relationships.
Number 1, when loyalty becomes self-destruction. Loyalty is beautiful until it means betraying yourself.
You know you're there when being loyal means covering for them, lying to your family, explaining their behavior over and over, or forgiving things they would never accept from you.
In short form, this lesson becomes a 45-second punch. In your real life, it's usually years of shrinking your needs so someone else can feel comfortable.
Dark lesson number 2. If every plan with other people ends in an argument, you're not loved, you're being isolated.
This one shows up in those comments you've probably seen. He always started a fight right before I saw my friends. Or every time I visited my family, there was drama when I got home.
That's not random stress. It's a control strategy. Your nervous system eventually learns seeing my people equals emotional punishment. So you cancel, you stay home. You call it quality time. But what it really is isolation.
Dark lesson number 3. Gifts are not proof of change. They're just props if behavior stays the same.
This hits especially hard around Christmas and birthdays. Massive gifts after the ugliest fights, perfect photos, captions like, so blessed. Meanwhile, you're numb.
When we put that into a short, it's a single line. The bigger the apology gift, the more you should ask why they needed it in the first place. In the podcast, we can say, a real apology is consistent behavior over time, not one dramatic gesture.
Okay, so what do you do with all of this? Because the goal is not to make you paranoid.
Right. The goal of dark lessons is clarity, not constant suspicion. Here are a few ways to use them in a healthy way.
First, treat dark lessons like filters, not like absolute commandments. If a behavior matches a lesson, you don't have to immediately end the relationship, but you pause and observe. You set a boundary and see how the person responds.
Second, use them for journaling. If a short hits you in the chest, write it down. Underneath, list 3 times in your life where that pattern showed up. Relationships, friendships, family, work. You'll start to see the same dynamic wearing different faces.
Third, teach them to your future self. That might sound weird, but think about it. When you're lonely, tired, or trauma bonded, your standards drop. So having a sentence like, being too nice is dangerous when the other person is careless with you, written somewhere, is a reality check.
And finally, use dark lessons to adjust your inputs. If every story you consume is ride or die romance and loyalty no matter what, of course you normalize suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Following accounts that talk about boundaries, self-respect, and nervous system safety is not cringe, it's maintenance.
Let's quickly bust a couple of myths we get in comments a lot.
Myth number 1. Talking about red flags makes you bitter.
Reality, naming patterns makes you strategic, not bitter. You can be compassionate and still say, I understand why you behave this way, and I'm not going to stay close to it.
Myth number 2. If I had stronger self-worth, I never would have ended up in a toxic relationship.
Reality, toxic people don't just target broken people, they also target competent, caring, high-capacity people, because those are the ones who can carry extra weight. The dark lesson here is self-worth doesn't guarantee safety, but it makes leaving faster and recovery softer.
And finally, dark lessons are anti-love.
Reality, they're pro-real love. Real love doesn't need you to abandon your intuition, your friends, or your basic dignity. If a dark lesson kills a connection, that connection was already built on something shaky.
If you made it this far into the very first episode, thank you. Seriously, your attention is the only thing you never get back, and you chose to spend it on your own clarity.
If any of the dark lessons we talked about today hit a little too hard, take a breath. You don't have to fix your entire history tonight. Just notice the patterns. That alone is already a different path than the one you were on.
If you want to see these ideas in visual form with short stories, text cards, and red flag breakdowns, you can find the shorts on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram under @DarkCaseMindset.
And if you want more long-form episodes like this one, breaking down toxic patterns, case files, and relationship red flags, let us know in the comments or leave a rating if you're listening on a podcast platform.
This was episode 1 of the Dark Case Mindset Podcast, Dark Lessons, Why Nice People Keep Ignoring Red Flags. Take care of yourself, trust the part of you that got uneasy while listening, and we'll talk again in the next episode.
Until then, your intuition isn't dramatic. It's just tired of being ignored.